What was your position on the disproportionate business fee that the city was charging the local businesses, mayoral candidates? How did you vote when the fee was implemented? And how did you vote when it was removed?
Mayoral or everybody?
Everybody.
I wasn't involved, but I agree with what's been said. We ought to be business friendly and reasonably so. And so those things that end up being restrictive, I can understand some of the incentives. And that's another thing that I would try to do as a city councilman is understand why would this have been done in the first place. And this may sound a little silly to some, but are we trying to make ourselves look like Park City or Jackson Hole or Huntsville or some of these areas that have that quaintness to them? And was that the reason that we did this? I really don't know because I wasn't paying attention at that time. But I can kind of understand that sentiment. But yet what ended up happening is it was overly restrictive. We aren't able to achieve that even if that was the goal. So I think the idea is to try and understand where people are coming from, those that might have enacted that, those that are opposing it, the reasons why, and what we can do about it to help things. I think we're on a good course right now, frankly, and would endorse what's been said in that regard in whatever involvement I would have in that, and I would plan to be involved.
I also agree with what's been said. I wasn't involved in either the decision for or the decision to rescind it. From what I know of it, though, it's not something that strikes me as fair. I hate to use that word, but it just seems like something that tends to quash business more than it encourages business. If you're a business looking to come into North Ogden and bring all the advantages that come with that and it would be brought to us as citizens, why would you do that if you're having to pay a disproportionate fee? I know if I were a business owner, I would look for a community where there wasn't a disproportionate fee. And so with the understanding that I have at this point, I would be against disproportionate fees.
Thank you. I was involved with the disproportionate fee, and I did vote to support the disproportionate fee compromise that was reached in the end. And here's why. The city at the time, this was in 2010, was passing through some serious economic problems. We had a lot of things that we were cutting out of the budget, a lot of things with declining tax revenues that we didn't have to meet, including the police force was one of our concerns. We had to put off hiring a police officer that was needed and make other cuts. So the disproportionate fee was something the city looked at doing after many of our neighbors had done it. Harrisville, for example, to put it in context, Harrisville, the large retailers there, their disproportionate fee is $61,853 if you look at Harrisville's business license fee. The thrift store in Harrisville is $14,000. Ogden has disproportionate fees. It's for every employee. I supported a lower compromise. The original proposal from the city would have had Lee's at $10,000. And I worked to make a lower cost compromise that I think was the best outcome for businesses and the city. And then I voted yes when it was overturned.
Mr. Baker, for a minute.
Actually, when it was overturned, I believe you were serving.
It was my first meeting.
Right. I was with the old council myself and Ron Flam, excuse me. I said I was the only one. He also voted against it because he's a business owner. But my philosophy is this: the disproportionate fee was, they said the businesses are having a disproportionate amount of police calls, therefore they should pay for it. And so I got the records from Weber County, and found out the great majority of them were traffic stops on Washington Boulevard. And so the streets doesn't have an address, so it's just the businesses, so they put it down there as that business. Business owners, including Lee's and others, got up and said, please don't charge us this. Lee's had donated $60,000 in the first 4 years they were here, donated to the city. They said, please don't do this. The others voted for it, I voted against it. When the new council got into place, we put it back on the agenda and we got it reversed, in which the business owners were extremely happy.
Mr. Uri.
Again, I was not on the council. I was out of the country when the disproportionate fee issue came up, but from what I know of it, I would have voted against disproportionate fees.
Your brevity should be noted in the minds of everyone. Mr. Satterthwaite?
I agree.